You know, when I think about what I look for in a mic stand, the ability to get it and maneuver it in any kind of area that I need to get it in, whether it be for studio or for live. Sometimes you got the smallest spaces to get the stand into, and so you need something that kind of reaches where, you know, normal stands wouldn't get to. Hi, I'm Sean Fuller, and you may remember me from the male duo Florida Georgia Line, and I am touring with Tyler Hubbard. Today we're talking about these great drummer solutions that Hercules has to offer, and the first thing that we're going to go with is the snare drum, because that's to me one of the most important voices of the kit. We're going to talk about the multi-mount right up off of the top of the snare drum here. We're actually mounting this off of the hi-hat stand versus off of the snare drum or off of a separate stand. What I really dig about this is in those tight spaces when you really need to get that perfect angle. Sometimes that can be difficult with a full stand. This multi-mount here actually gives you a 360-degree radius, if you will, around it, so you can get that perfect sweet spot on the snare drum. Really dig that feature. Then obviously in the studio or in a live situation, you're also miking from the bottom. And what we're utilizing here is called the low profile transformer mic stand. It's such a cool feature because it literally transforms into different directions and gets you that perfect angle underneath the snare drum for your bottom mic. Really dig that feature, and it folds up nice and neat too after you're done. Moving on to the hi-hat stand, the low profile telescoping boom stand. And what I love about this is obviously it telescopes, and you can literally get any height on this that you need or that you want. And one of the cool things that I really dig about this is actually the handle that you can use to grip to tighten it at. There's been plenty of mic stands that I've gone through, and I'm sure you have as well, that it gets a little bit of slippage and you can't really get your hand to grip it tight enough to hold the mic that it is that you're using. The cool thing is that Hercules has introduced this new handle style that actually locks and grips at the same time. It's super cool. I think you're going to dig that. Another thing that we have off of this hi-hat stand is an iPad holder. So I really dig this. If I'm utilizing my iPad for whether it be like some kind of app, a click track or anything like that, we have this really cool Hercules iPad holder, and the thing is super awesome. Can get it again at any angle. That was the focus to me on this, is you can get it at any angle. It's super grippy. It's not going to drop your iPad no matter how hard you're playing it. If you know how I play pretty hard. So this thing is not going to move on you. It grips nicely. Great feature from Hercules. Moving on to the bass drum, we have this telescoping round bass mic stand that is actually super cool. What I dig about this the most, number one, it's telescoping, so you can get literally anywhere with this thing, whether you're in the studio and you're using like some kind of sub kick externally, or you're trying to get more close to the head on the inside. It telescopes internally, so you can get anywhere that you want to with this, or externally if you need to use like a sub kick. It's super cool. What I also really dig is the actual base on it is shaped like the Hercules emblem, and it's for a purpose, believe it or not. The little notches that are dug out of that thing helps you get it around the feet of the actual cymbal stand. Pretty cool stuff there. Another cool feature about that bass is that it's super heavy duty, so you're not going to have to worry about it tilting over or falling over. It's not going to move on you, trust me on that. I should know. Now we're going to go to the rack tom and the floor tom, and we're going to utilize these multi-mounts again. Going back to what I really dig about these, number one, you're not mounting it off the shell of the drum. There's been several times whether I've been playing live or studio and I'm using these clamp-on mics, that you hit a drum and like if it floats or anything of that nature, sometimes those things can pop off, or if they get a little loose after a while. The cool thing about these is that it's mounting off of a cymbal stand. You get that 360-degree turn radius of the microphone to get it any direction that it is that you want. On the high tom, on the low toms, any of that nature, you're going to get this thing exactly where you need it to. You can mount it off of your cymbal stands. You can mount it off of other mic stands. It gets you in that perfect sweet spot position for miking your drums. Moving on to the overheads. These are super cool. These are telescoping hideaway boom stands. And you can have them as boom stands, you can have them as straight stands. The actual boom arms hide away inside the actual stand itself to make it a straight stand, or as you pull it out, it actually becomes your boom stands, and they are very extendable. I also love the quick release features that they have on the bottom, towards the bottom of the bases here, to get that height of the stand itself. It's not where you have to turn it or anything like it. It's super quick release, so you can make adjustments on the fly. Because they're made so well, any kind of mics that you're using as overheads, whether they be a little bit heavier, some of the older studio mics are heavier, they're gonna hold them, they're super stable, and I've never had any issues with them, whether it be in live or studio. Moving over to my left-hand side, we're gonna talk about this accessory table. And I've seen a lot of accessory tables, and some of them for the most part are just too small for what it is that I need. The great news about this stand is it's super large, and it actually gives you the space that you need, and it has a foam topper onto it too that kind of gives you an isolation so that there's no sound problems, there's no issues that you're going to have out of that. And this thing is super awesome. I really dig it, and just virtually indestructible. I love the thing. Coming right off of this this table, we have a smartphone holder. Essentially, like if you're doing any kind of podcasts or anything of that nature, this thing is the perfect device to do that with. So you have all of your other stuff that you need over here, and then you have your smartphone holder that literally you can live broadcast yourself or just record yourself. This thing is super strong, and it's not going to move around too much on you. It's actually very nice. It's got a great grip on it, and I've not lost a phone once on this thing. So very cool device here by Hercules. So now we have shifted to setup number 2, and once again Hercules has come up with great ways to support whether it's your studio or live setup. The whole 9 yards, except we're doing different miking techniques using different stands. Well, similar stands, but in different fashions. So what we're doing here on the snare drum is we're literally miking both top and bottom off of one stand, which is a great aspect, good time saver, and also a very good space saver as well. For those guys in the studio that are like, man, Sean, I don't really want to mount anything off of a stand or off of the drum or whatever. I'd like to isolate, I like to do things just off of stands. This is a great way of doing it. What we're using is a low-profile telescoping round base stand from Hercules that, again, great stand, gets you in all the areas that you need to be here, and it also has that great heavy-duty base on the bottom that has the cutouts on it. It's got the quick release off the top end as well, so if you want to get your mic off of there real quick, it has a quick release on it. It has the heavy-duty handles on there. It helps tightening things and making sure things are nice and sturdy. Coming off of that mic stand, we're using the multi-mount, so you're getting both the top and the bottom of the snare drum in one service. It's great, it's a time saver, and it keeps everything out of your way. Let's go to the toms. So at this point now we're using the telescoping low-profile tripod stands. Again, keeps things out of the way. The tripod actually helps you maneuver around stands and things of that nature as well. Really dig this stand, and again still has that sturdy clamp on it as well, as far as like, you know, getting your mic to where it's just not going to budge. Going to the floor tom, we are using the low-profile telescoping round base. So if you remember off of the first kit, we used that as the kick drum mic stand, and so with this one we're using it on the floor tom. So again, just a cool variance. You can actually use it on other aspects of the drum kit or other areas of the drum kit as well. Great stand, still has that nice round base on the bottom with the cutouts, gets you around your stands. Maneuverability is super cool. Going to the kick drum. Now we're going to go, if you remember on the last kit, we used what was called the low profile transformer stand, and we were using that as the bottom mic stand for the bottom of the snare drum. In this aspect, versatility, we're using it in the front of the kick drum here, and you can actually see the really cool angles that you can get this thing in, and it's super sturdy. You can use it with sub kicks, you can use it with anything you want to. It's a great stand. As far as overheads are concerned, okay, so now we're using the telescoping hideaway tripod stands. These are great stands. We've already talked about how cool they are. The one aspect that I didn't mention about them that they utilize on all of their things are those quick release clips at the very top. You can just take those right off, put on different mics if you wanted to. Super cool. Really dig that, and again, you can hide them away and make them straight stands if you want to as well. Going over to the hi-hat stand, we have our smartphone holder coming right off of the hi-hat stand. So if I'm using any kind of click or any kind of apps, I could do that. And then we also have this accessory tray. Digging this accessory tray because a couple of things. It's shallow enough to where you can put it at the very front of the hi-hat stand and it's not going to get in the way of your knees. And then also, it's got like a little rubber pad on the thing too, so you don't have slippage. If you put something on it, whether it's your keys, your wallet, your drum key, doesn't matter, whatever it is that you're sticking on that thing, it's not moving around. That tray is super handy. Last but not least, on the hi-hat stand, we have another multi-mount. This is another way of miking your hi-hat. Sometimes, you can mic from the top of your hi-hat, sometimes you can mic from the bottom. I've done both in various forms, again, depending on what my setup is and what I have that might be in the way. There's been a few times where I've mic'd from the bottom, more live so than studio, but it works in both aspects. And again, it kind of gives you a little bit of different flavor too. So using that multi-mount on the bottom of the hi-hat, Saves you time, saves you space, doesn't get in the way. Super, super cool. Again, has that 360-degree maneuverability to where you can literally shift it around in any direction or any angle that you would need to find that sweet spot on the hi-hats. When I think of Hercules stands, I think of three things. I think of stability, I think about reliability, and I think about durability. When it comes to device holding and what is important to me, I'd like to say making sure that it's not going to move while I'm playing. I play pretty hardcore sometimes, and so when I'm playing, I don't want it to move around, shift around, and fall. When I'm playing live or in the studio, I think the game changer for me from Hercules is the multi-mount. It's such a cool device. So again, getting into those little tight areas, those little tight squeeze areas, it's such a great device. And then I'd also like to say that the transformer stand is also a game changer. Being able to utilize that in various places, that thing can get in just really, really cool places, and it's such a low profile that it stays out of the way of, the map of your drum kit.